All right, good evening, everybody. Let's do a quick sound check, see if you guys can hear me okay. Give you guys a second to see if you can get in. Let's see, change this. I can hear myself, so we'll see if you guys can hear me. Make sure it's clear. Can hear. Great. Sounds good. Let's start over here. And again, there we go. We got it, Ryan. The contest for Pip Chips is live again, guys. I put it on early this time. So we have not done a giveaway yet I guess, what are they called? A contest this week. We've only done the giveaways for the Pip Chips. And again, don't forget, guys, you get these by attending. So as long as you guys are logged in and watching, you tend to accumulate them. If you guys can see the people that have the stars and the crowns next to them, those are the Twitch Prime subscribers. Remember, you can subscribe to one channel every month, and you get double the Pip Chips for those. So you can use them to purchase things. Right now, as I mentioned before, the only thing we have inside of the store is the mentoring sessions. But as of the 12th, we will probably add more items in there. Most likely, again, and that'll be that parabolic retest class that'll be going online. Okay. With that being said, definitely got some movement today. Okay, so I've been talking for a while. I was excited for September to come here, and September is here. So definitely got some movement. Look at that pound, man. Look at that number. 224 pips up on that one today. Again, 155 is nothing to shake your finger at. But man, compared to a week ago when we were talking about 20s and 30s, this is the movement that we've been looking for. So let me click refresh on this one just so you can kind of see what we have here. You guys can see this is what we got going on today. Again, a lot of red news versus forecast. You can see the PMI services for pound came in early. Again, you can see the trade balance for the CAD was much lower, right? They expected it to be 0.2. It was lower, and again, you guys can see that this one went flying. As far as the overnight rate, again, it didn't change, and again, that's what was the forecast. There was no kind of miss on that one. And again, there were some expectations around that were kind of released. But for the most part, again, pretty, it's kind of interesting. So interesting enough, again, we talked about the pound. Look at the number one news here. UK's Johnson in crisis after failing to trigger early election. So they're starting to get a little weird over there. Yeah, should be interesting. We'll see. I think it's going to get crazy. I think they have absolutely no idea. I thought he thinks it was going to be easier than it was. We've already seen the May debacle. I think his is just going to be just as crazy. And I think eventually the Queen's just going to step in and be like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. You guys are all idiots. That's what I'm saying right now. There's my, that's my play. That's what I'm going to call my shot right now. I just think there's just so much drama. Everybody would rather have everybody fail than anybody kind of cross the aisle and kind of, work together is kind of what my take is on all this whole thing. So it's just such a nightmare. Yeah, we'll see. But as far as movement today, pretty much all pairs more or less had some good movement. You guys can see the euro again, not as much as the pound, but 61, not a bad day. Excuse me, euro yen. I'm totally exhausted again, guys. If you couldn't tell, I literally got home and had like 10 minutes before we had to jump on. Dollar yen again, 49 pips is good. Dollar Swiss again, it continued its decline to the downside. We saw this. This is 2 days in a row that we've seen this kind of decline going, kind of moving in here. So again, a lot of indecision. Okay, that's where this pair comes in, and we'll kind of look at this on the chart. The Aussie pairs again. There is news tonight. The trade balance again. It's not as big. It's only considered a medium-sized move. But again, these pairs, it's obviously Aussie strength that we're seeing versus the dollar as well as the yen. So not too bad, right? And again, the monster move of the day is the pound yen. Again, that's what can happen. Like I said, it's been 60 for the last couple of days, and then all of a sudden, wham, we get smacked with this, 222. And again, we'll look at that one. And again, you guys can see over the 24 hours, it's a 1.74% move. It's huge, right? I mean, almost a 2-point move in currencies. That's huge. Okay. But we will look at it into a chart. So with that being said, let's jump over into charts. So looking at the Aussie pair again, this one has kind of had a nice little pop, and it's been actually a pretty healthy pop. We were talking about news last night. Let's bring this back up to 30 minutes. You guys can see nothing super crazy, no gigantic run up, right? We had this little kind of almost bounced off of this zone. It came back down and then kind of pulled across. And again, we did break the channel to the top side, right? We had this kind of previous channel. And again, looking at the daily, we are pushing back up. We're not quite as high as this single wick right here, this kind of spike up that went for this wick over that if I boxed it all, I'm pretty sure I boxed this off last night, but I may not have. Guys, look at that right there. You can see that's kind of where we're looking at right now. Okay. Again, has pierced very, very deeply into that zone, so it's not really the highest quality zone, but things are progressing nicely. Again, this is a nice, healthy kind of run up, right? With impulse corrections all the way up. Nice little pullbacks, a little pop, little basing, another pop again. Again, this is a good trending stock if you're able to catch this one from the bottom. Again, there was that 4-hour entry over here, and again, a little bit difficult. The candle formations that were used in the 4-hour here make it very difficult, right? I mean, long wick down here, then a short wick over wick here, which set this over, and again, pulled just slightly lower and kind of pulled back again, and then again, it was off to the races once traders stepped in. Again, this was Monday super late when then U.S. traders actually started to come online. So again, it's trending, it's moving, it's continuing to push higher. I still like this more to the top side. I'm probably not looking to get in again. It's a pretty mature trend at this point. It is quite high on the curve at this point. I'm probably not going to look for anything or any type of reversal until this area, unless we do get some type of a pop. I mean, if we get a nice news-based pop, then I could potentially look for something. But besides that, again, it's a pretty mature trend at this point. I don't know that I'm going to jump in. Looking at the 30-minute, not really any great, like, beautiful, like an area that you're like, that's a great pullback. Like I said, it's just been pretty, again, 6-7 candles here, a little pop again, long base here, long flat base here. So this is just a grinder, just really a grinder. Nothing that I would say that is I'm absolutely in love with. No, but if we do get up in the purple area, then I would be looking for, if I get some type of confirmation to the downside that we're going to reverse, that'd be where I do it. Okay. Man, it's loading slow on the first one. We only just started. So talked about this one last night, and we talked about how it was starting to get a little funky. We had a bit of a pullback here, right? We were going to go a little bit higher, and we were sitting inside of this wick. And as again, I mentioned this before, any big wicks like this, I'm not really a huge fan. And again, looking at this on the 4-hour, you guys can see it pulled back up again. Again, from here's the high, right before we had this, like the Friday high. What has it done? Went down, grabbed some more orders, went out, and again, prices here right now. You guys can see this dark line. We're right where we were Friday. There's really nothing in there. Again, this one is more or less flatlined. 2 days of kind of a slow pullback that you can see on the 4-hour, but open and close were exactly the same. You guys see these two candles? It popped, and it's really at the same area. Hasn't really left it. Okay. Now, what are we seeing on the 30-minute? This is important. Okay. You're seeing that here's the highest high, and then a lower high, and then a lower high, then a lower high. Okay. But, and I say but, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low kind of basing level. Okay, so again, it is consolidating down, looking like we're going to have some type of explosion one way or the other. Tonight, I don't think we're going to be able to get it. I just don't think the news, this trade balance is really going to do too much. Looking into tomorrow, really, there's not a whole lot either. And then again, going into the final day of the week on September 6th, really not a lot there, right? So it seems like this is the last little bit of Aussie news. So this is going to be probably more of a gold play, although Aussie and New Zealand will both kind of react to gold, that kind of whole kind of Pacific region. But for the most part, it's going to be more of an Aussie move. So if we start hearing things about inflation and gold starts to move, that will be a catalyst for the Aussie to move as well. But because we are consolidating on the 30-minute from top down as well as bottom up, again, it's not really. I mean, look at it. If you look on the 4-hour right here, again, you can see that this green is basically engulfed. This is engulfed. That's engulfed. This is engulfed. That's engulfed. This green is engulfed. That one is engulfed. This is the last time we had any type of movement. Okay, so the last basically day and a half, it's starting to turn more into a sideways pair. And again, you can see that in the consolidation on the 30-minute. Now, look at Aussie dollar. Okay, now Aussie dollar did have some movement today. Again, it was up 38, not quite as much as the Aussie yen. And this is what we had here. Okay, so we had that original profit target here, right? And again, I took it out, got out for 65. The original target, again, that we were hoping to hit was this dotted line, and it ended up going through, hit that last night, and then now has continued to push forward. So Let me bring this back to 30. I don't need it on the 5 anymore. And you guys can see most of its momentum, again, it held firm at this level, right? And again, that's what the signal was to get out. It did give us the pop because of the news, and then a slight grind, and then you guys can see it just flatlined. From about 10 o'clock this morning, this pair really hasn't moved whatsoever. Okay, it's just basically gone and engulfed itself, kind of consolidated. We have a little tiny bit of a pop right now, but it's very, very small. You guys can see it more or less is just flatlined. So this puts us at an interesting area. Excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. Unfortunately, Asher had a private lesson tonight, and it poured on us for like 10 minutes, and then I got the chills, and then I got super tired afterwards. So probably not the best idea with the baby being sick, but yeah, it happened. And now I'm like even more tired. So this basing level up pop, okay, this is what I'm starting to worry about. Okay, you're seeing that the pullbacks, again, this was a very, very sharp percent. And again, you guys can see some basing, a little pop, and it's starting to slow down. And we're seeing candles. We're not seeing really sharp pullbacks, but we're starting to see smaller green candles in here. And again, looking at the 30-minute, you're really not seeing the same type of angle. Here, and again, I'll draw this for visual purposes. I'm not using this to trade, but this is something that I'll use to talk about exhausting trends. If you're looking from here to here, you guys can see that that's really the angle we were on. And then the angle started to change, and it kind of became this angle, right? And then it started to change and go to this angle. And then it's starting to change and go to this angle. So you guys can see that the moves are getting to be less and less and less and less, and bringing it back up to different levels, okay? If we bring it to this level, we can see what are we running into. If price is here, right, this dark line, well, we can see that we had a push here, okay? Just above this, we had this little kind of kick up and a level of basing right here, right? Looking back, you can see that, again, there's nothing until kind of this level, but that was our original target, this gold level, okay? This was a trigger for us. So it's starting to run into some things. And again, this is in 2 days, this is quite a large movement, right? Where is it? Sorry, drawing, measuring tool. You guys can see in 2 days, we're talking about 115 pips in this pair with no pullbacks. Okay, so again, no real sharp pullback, especially on the 4 hour. I mean, again, this is a pullback, but it's more of just a base. There's nothing really that is kind of pulled back in. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for some type of a pullback. Okay. And again, that pullback will either be confirmed with a color change or, again, signaling a new trend, or it'll be a quick pullback and we'll never see that red again and it will break again higher. Okay. So that's kind of my opinion on this one. I don't necessarily have a trade set up right now for it. With news tonight, it's not even like a high-powered news release. But I am looking, at some point, I'm going to be looking into taking the zone back over again. This is too big of a pop. As you can see, this big pop down kind of came back up again. This is too big of a pop up to be a huge fundamental change based off the level that we hit. Again, do I think we're going to travel all the way up to here, back up in the 70s? Probably not. That'd be quite a lot of movement. But yeah, you can see the basings in here as well. So looking for something this one, but I'm definitely a bit more bearish in the near term than I would be about it going all the way back up. Okay. Looking at the pound Aussie. So pound Aussie got above the blue area again. Okay. We talked about this blue area being kind of an area that's not bad on the 4 hour. Again, we hit it, right? We went pretty deep into it. We pulled this top section and we pulled back down to grab more orders and then made another attempt back in again. So if you take the original level, and again, this is something I'll show in one of the other pairs as well. Let's pull this here. Let's pull this down. There was your original zone. Whoops. I killed it again. Let's go back in. Go to dashboard. At least it remembers the pair, but it didn't save my drawing. Okay. So here's the original wick over wick. Okay. And again, 1, 2, 3. And what happened on number 4? It burst out the top. Okay. So again, number 3 was kind of a little interesting of a trade. It did pull back down again. But again, number 4 finally broke through and now we've pulled back through. So this is a case where, people have been asking, are we doing the Harry Potter in reverse? Is it a Harry Potter up? Probably not for me on this one. And here's why. If we look on the 4 hour, and again, dialing this 4 hour level down to here, right? Because it doesn't transfer up. If we go long, how much longer can we go up? Okay. What are we going up into? Again, if this is the pullback, where do we go next? Where is up? Is there enough room? And you guys can see this is a pretty nice candle here, this extended range candle. So the one fear for me on this one of doing a Harry Potter is that we're going to run into this level here. Okay, you guys can see this is a level of basing. I mean, really, it popped here, level of basing, and then boom, extended range move out, and that's what it used to break through this level to push down. That level is only from where price. I'm again from the bounce. You're talking about 50 pips to the most, to the top side. So, and again, on the 4 hour, very, very large level. Okay. But again, we have a very strong, healthy push up, retrace, push up, and retrace. So for me, I don't necessarily like it as much. And again, you'll see a little bit of wick over wick here. I don't like this one as for a Harry Potter trade, especially with how deep it's really kind of come back in again. Had we gotten more of a green candle here, then yes, I would have been probably willing to take it more to the top side. But now that it's driven a little bit farther down, it's kind of invalidated itself for me on this one. I think this is going to be, again, it may have been a trap set up that we can't really see. You guys see this little wick here? I'm wondering if that's the trap that it was kind of trying to set there. So, but again, the target on this one would be here. Okay. You'd be looking for this one that would have been your target long. Okay. So the total range would have been about 40 pips, 45 pips. And your risk level would have been about 25. So risking 25 for 45, not really a good risk to reward ratio. Whoops, I almost spilled tea all over the keyboard, but we were good. All right, so that's where we're at on this one. Again, not my favorite. I feel like we're pushing things. So looking at the euro pound, check out this one. This kind of went down again. You guys remember we drew this green dotted line based off of the daily? Well, guess what? We just hit it. Okay. Where did it come from? You could have taken it all the way to the top side. Again, we had one target down here, and we talked about this, that this was the start of the last move, but the overall target based off of the larger time frame. Again, here was the daily, the dotted line. We just triggered it about 3 hours ago. About 6 hours ago now. Okay, so we are in the completion phase of that one. We are all the way at the bottom. We are at an area right now. We are approaching this level of basing. Now, again, it didn't rocket ship off this area. It didn't really kind of explode because, again, this buying area would have been our target to take us out based off of what we had on the 4 hour. When price was pulling back up, again, that's where we grabbed this little area up here for 16 pip risk. You could have taken yourself out many times in here. And again, kind of a crazy one, right? Price came all the way down again. You may have taken yourself out here. When you're looking for two different level breaks, because of this kind of big drop, you were pretty safe, right? Really, until we get really kind of right where this yellow is. Again, this is the first time we've had two higher highs. But again, had you gotten out, all it did was it pulled back and grabbed the orders from this zone. It didn't actually break any zones from the top side. And again, this is about trailing. So let's run through a little lesson on trailing. So, okay, so I'm going to use this bar, right, as my trail line, right? So what we're doing is we're looking for two breaks on the upper side, right? So at this point, right, is there any break? No. Put a new low in, right? Came back. Okay, this needs to be broken by twice or two times, right? So when we go to here, right, there's one break when price went up. Does it break another one? No. Kind of went across, went down again. Okay, so if we go down to here, kind of the same thing. Did it go? Did it break? No, no, no. This pop up? Did it break these two? No, so that becomes live. Okay, does it go up? Does it break this? Nope. Continue to push away and go down again. So really, you would have been able to run this all the way down and kind of trail it and not gotten stopped out at all. Where we are now, I am starting to get bearish this pair. I think the pound has had enough pushback in this one. I think we will probably see some type of a flip on this one and push back higher. Question is it going to kick in on this little level of basing? Let's go look. You guys can see pretty clearly here. This is where the target was based off the daily, right? See these two nice sized candles and this little kind of squat candle before this big push. You guys will see there's one level of basing here. This is that small day. Okay. I think I like this zone better than this one. Probably would look at something. Let's change this to two purples. So in essence, I mean, in reality, there was your base, your push up and retest. Let's see what we got on the other side here. We got a ways on that one. So we're looking at about 42 to the downside. Hello, Millie. The dog wanted to come check out chart school as well. We got about 42 pips to the downside on that one before we can move. So this one may be one that we set an alert. You may want to bring your alert line down and put us, let's see, where does that put us? Yeah, you may want to bring your alert line down and put it right before this little red zone. And that would put your alert at 89.70. Okay. And what that'll do is that can alert you to come back to the keyboard and see if we continue to push down. Again, we may get a little bit of basing in this level. It's not very strong basing. There are 2 wicks down here that are sitting by themselves and also provide an odd number for us as far as established and cleared. So again, it may be little bit of a pothole, kind of like, little sand trap right on the way down. Because again, nice movement in, slow grind, and then nice movement again. So, you may not want to watch that one. You may want to set an alert. And then again, you want to start looking for some type of a long position down in here. If we can coincide that with some news, it'd be nice. Although there's really not a whole lot of news left for the week. There's only 2 days left, but that would be an interesting setup for something long. That's what I need to work on. Safely trailing. I left a lot on the table. Yeah, I mean, James, it happens. It's one of those things. Again, trailing is one of those skills that you do have to be at the computer a lot more and pay attention to. It's one of those things, when you can find them. And again, it's not only, and you're coming at from the wrong thing. It's not only trailing that you have to be careful of or, get better at. It's also adding on. Because remember, as this is trailing and it's putting new red, green, reds in, you should be adding positions on. So, I mean, you had a red, green, red and a close below here. Again, you could have taken a box on something like this, right? Once you had the break there, you knew it was going to close lower, right? You could have added on a second position here. Okay, move your stop loss to break even. Then the next time we had another red, green, red, we had another red, green, red. You could have added another position here. Okay. And again, when it came across, you wouldn't have got stopped out. Again, you had a red, green, red close below the box. You could put another standard lot on here. Oops, actually, no, it's there. There. Snap mode, right? Then you had a red, green, red. You could put another position on here. Right, that's below. And then the next time you had an opportunity to do it was a red, green, red here. Again, also below the box. And then you could have done a red, green, red here to the downside. Okay, so your one standard lot could have turned into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 standard lots, trailing it to the downside. So that's where it gets really crazy when you get these big runners, is getting the add-ons, and that's actually even a harder skill. I'm still working on that one. It's one of those ones that, because I'm more hands-off at this point, I don't sit there. But had you been sitting there, had you been watching this, you could have been setting alerts. And again, you're pretty good with alerts, James. You could have set alerts and literally just, okay, let me know when price breaks below, this next level. And, let me know when price drops below this next level here. And you can just keep following it. And again, if it takes you 6 hours, 7 hours, you just keep adding on to the position and go and go and go and go and go. Okay. That's how these things really get really expensive. They become huge, huge grand slams when you can get big runners like that. Okay. All right. So, yeah, I'm waiting to, like I said, I'm going to wait till it gets down to this lower area. But again, we did just hit the target based off the daily of where we're looking. And again, if you have the ability to, kind of trail this, again, it's been there for a while, right? This was from Tuesday at 3 all the way down. Okay. You guys can see the run there. Whoops. There. All right. This trade took a total of 1 day and 16 hours. And it got you a total of 137 pips. If you just had one standard lot on there. Okay, so quite a big mover. Looking at Euro Yen. So, Euro Yen, interesting place. Okay, we had the dotted lines. We talked about that was potentially where the target was going to be on some type of a reversal. We definitely had the reversal, man. This pair, the Euro definitely put some work in. Now where we're at is we're at the top side. So let me get these off. Okay. Oops. So now we got to respect this area. Okay, and we're sitting in that area right now. You guys can see, what did it do in the 30-minute? Since it hit that area, it slowed down. Okay, it was grinding pretty decent, right? From all the way last night is when this grind started, and it continued to push and push and push and push and push. It based right before this level took it out, continued to push higher, and then it got stuck. And again, you can't see this level, or this gap or anything like that on this large extended range candle on the 4-hour. But you got to be able to respect this pullback, right? This 3-candle push down, bit of a pullback base, and then an explosion from that base. That's where we're at right now. So, hold on one sec, guys. Sorry, the Great Dane keeps pushing in. The baby's she's laying down in the other room trying to sleep. So if she's going to get some rest now, I want to let her do it. Unfortunately, the Dane is so big, and she's basically figured out that she's large enough that she can open doors. It doesn't matter if the door is locked or not. She is big enough. About the only inside doors are fine, but like the sliding glass door, she has figured out how to open the sliding glass door even when it's locked. And then we actually have to put a chair in front of it as well. So if we don't wedge the chair basically the right direction, she moves the chair and then pops the lock herself and lets herself out. Now, the cat that passed away this last weekend, that was the one that we had to worry about. She only weighed about 2.5 pounds because she was so old, and she was like a runt. That cat would go outside. It started as a feral cat, and she obviously wanted to become a feral cat at the end as well. The other cat's too fat. She's like, nope, it's warm outside. I'm going back inside. But of course, the dog, you have a 100-pound dog running around the neighborhood barking at people. The neighbors aren't necessarily the most happy about it. Okay. Now, on this one, guys, we are seeing a pop right now, which is kind of an interesting kind of move up again. We'll see what it's able to do. It's really ground down. It's hit 1, 2. Again, this is the third push through. Yes, Millie. What is it? What? What do you want? Am I talking about you? She knows I'm talking about her now, so she's like, I heard you. I heard you. We'll see what this push is able to do. It does look like it wants to push through the top side of this one. It is. Let's see. It shouldn't be moving for that. Let's see. Let me refresh real quick. See if there's a bit of news or somebody said something. There shouldn't be. Interesting move that we're seeing right now. Whoops. Let's drop this down. Yeah, that's quite a large little spike on a 5-minute chart, on a 5-minute candle. Yeah, you're talking about 15 this time of night, straight up. Somebody must have tweeted. Somebody said something. Yeah, we'll have to wait till the news catches up. Somebody said something, because that is way too big of a spike. This is a news. This is some type of a talk for something. Yeah, something moved. You said dollar Swiss is moving too? Yeah, dollar Swiss is moving a little bit too. But euro yen doesn't move. Is your dollar moving? No. I mean, maybe not the same. Yeah, a bit. Let's see. That one's not as big. That's only about a 5 pip. That's about a 6 pip runner. So not as big. Again, this one moved. Again, that's a pretty nice spike up suddenly. So something happened somewhere. Somebody said something. Leak on Aussie trade? Maybe. Aussie shouldn't have moved that pair. I mean, probably shouldn't have moved that much. Like I said, see, I mean, this is a nice candle. So I'm missing news somewhere. Somebody opened their mouth and said something. I don't think trade balance is going to be what really moves this one, unless it's pretty bad and this is the yen moving. But again, you said that the Swiss moved also. So again, you're seeing it on the euro dollar. It moved, but it moved very, very small. Now I'm dying to know. It's like, come on, what's the news? That shouldn't move it there. Anyway, all right, let's just do the analysis on there. Okay. All right. Look at this. Man, I'm really curious now because you know what? It's because I said that this one probably isn't going to move much more and I'm looking to get short that somebody heard me. That's what happened. James is out here over here doing the exact opposite. He goes, "Oh yeah, Bryan says it's going down, so guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to start shorting the dollar." Driving price down. Well, it is pushing through the top of the zone, so let's see if we can get back up. Now, we are running into this area on the daily as well, okay? This is something you got to be cautious about, okay? On the 4-hour, it's a little bit choppier, okay? This is not a bad. You guys can see the descending wicks down here, so I am not opposed to this zone right here, okay? If price is able to rally just a bit higher, you're talking about a 16 pip zone up top here, okay? It is pushing through this, again, this base. For no reason, nothing that I can find yet. I don't see any news in here where anybody said anything yet, but we'll have to see, what comes of this, why this is. I'm sure there'll be some type of news release on it to go higher. So if we do get to this top section, again, I was willing to take it off of this on this lower level, but if we can get to the upper one, I'm even happier, and that would actually give us the level on the daily, okay? James pulled up the fib. So again, this would be more of a Nadex trade at this point. Again, you could take the 15 pip risk. Again, this is definitely what you would call a racetrack based day. Again, there is no wick on the bottom, and it's gone straight up 130 pips. Okay, the daily ATR on this one is 75, 76 pips right now, 77, and we're already almost double that right now. Okay, so with that being said, it's definitely set up. Yeah, we're basically almost double the ATR right now. I'm definitely looking for this to run into something and start a retrace. And again, it would be more this top line here. Okay, especially now that we've kind of blown through this basing area. But I would have been willing to take it off the basing area right here. I'll leave that there to see if if we are wrong, then we might as well be wrong. Okay. All right. So going across the euro dollar. Okay. So euro dollar. What did it do? Again, this one put in some work as well. Okay, pulled all the way up, ran right into this profit target. Again, you guys can see, missed the profit target by just a little tiny bit. Got a 30-minute. You guys will see. There it is. Okay, now again, you guys can see we are in the zone. There was the base, right? There was on the bottom. That base was drawn off of this line right here. Okay, and that's what we're running into. Okay, this is kind of pushed up. Now, interesting situation for this one because we are technically in a downtrend setup. Okay, this is obviously pushed back again. You guys can see this red is obviously outside the green. If you go across, you end up hitting right here. So again, downtrend setup with a green pullback. This gap was kind of hidden, and again, that's why we didn't trade that one. But this level is a little bit different. It did spend a lot of time here, but again, this was also Friday. So Friday going into the holiday weekend, not necessarily as surprised. But in this case, I'd be looking to potentially take some type of a trade. Again, don't have a confirmation yet, but potentially looking to take this over probably about 50 pips here would be target number one, with a target number two down here of about 90. Okay. And again, that's a pretty interesting reversal. It'd be number one would be there. Just change this to green. And then let's throw another one on there as far as a secondary target would be down to here. Let's make sure there. Might be there. Make this guy a little bit shorter. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Okay. Looking for some type of a confirmation. Again, it's because we're bouncing off this zone. You guys can see the risk on this one is, 50, 80, and then the overall risk on it is, we'll do it off the same zone. You're talking about 15 pip risk? Something along those lines. Okay. You snuck 110 out of it? Oh, off the pop? Yeah. Did it retest yet? No, it's still driving. Something set this thing off. I'm dying to find out. I don't think. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if that's going to be enough to drive it that high. All right. So that's all I'm looking for in the euro dollar. Looking at euro Aussie. Now, euro Aussie, same situation. Look on the daily, right? We had the dotted line. This would be the target, right? What did it go back to? Again, right back down to the start of where the move happened, right? Nice push up, retrace back, nice explosion forward. So, again, another situation where it's kind of this one's a little bit different. The other pair was all the way at the bottom. This one is kind of sitting right here in the middle. So, technically, the candle is green right now. We are in a downtrend setup. You guys can see it's just barely green. If I spread this out, you guys see it's just barely a setup. But even when we were looking on the 4 hour, right, where was it pulling back to? There was a wick over wick here. These are a little bit different to draw because here's the three components, okay? Here's the wick over the wick, right, which we know and love. And here's a single wick against a wall. Okay, so in essence, you really kind of, and again, this one is not drawn perfect. No, I wanted to blow it this way. You guys see, it's like that. So in essence, you should be drawing just a box over the whole thing, which kind of messes up the risk to reward in some cases. But we got pretty close on that one, right? Okay, so that's what it was pulling back into when price was up in here. A continuation. Again, missed this one by just pipettes, obviously. Okay, to the downside, it's obviously moved quite far. The question is, how strong is this zone going to be? Now, if you guys look, this green wick and the red wick here are basically at the same level, which typically shows me that, again, our establishment and our clears happen on this one, that this is not going to be a huge level. We're running into the top of it now, and again, that's what we're running into is this little piece right here. I think the first really strong zone is going to be down here at 161.10, or right below where these two wicks are, because again, you're going to have this single wick down here, this level of basing. And again, that's really what these two pulled back off of, was this single wick over here anyway. So I believe that's where the actual orders are going to place themselves. So this would have been a missed entry. Again, you probably would not have got in, just a little bit too close. Again, I drew it here. You guys can see it. I stretched it out. Oh, now the baby's coming to see me. Everybody wants to go attend chart school tonight. I think my wife has shut the door like 4 times. So you guys can see. Yeah, dialing it down here. Look how close you guys missed it by. Right, just were unable to get that entry. Okay, and again, a bit of a slow grind. You guys can see it over here on the 4 hour as well. So again, that would have been your trade, the downtrend setup based off the 4 hour. It would have triggered about 7 a.m. this morning. Between 7 and 10 is where it came back up to hit that zone. But like I said, most likely you would have missed the entry unless you would have front run it just by a little bit. Okay. Your yen is approaching 50 on the fibs. There you go. Look at that. It is. Yeah. What happened, man? Somebody talked. Wow. Look at that. That's pretty good for trade balance. They hit that pretty. That's pretty good on forecast. It's obviously not even a different color. Look at that. So they've been off and they finally hit one. So that's, it's interesting. So again, like I said, didn't think it was going to be too big of a piece there. But again, look at this. This thing is rallying. What a rally. Yeah, this thing is just cruising. It's cruising. Yeah, I'm dying here with this one. I mean, we're talking now, what? Let's see. And again, we're in a new candle now, but we're talking about 37 pips in, what, 20 minutes? Yeah, in less than 20 minutes? In 18 minutes? And FYI, the ATR on this pair is 6. So it's moved 3, basically. 3 ATRs in 20 minutes. Man, that thing is going crazy. All right, let's look at pound. Pound yen. Okay, like I said, and again, you're not seeing the same movement here, right on the 30-minute. You're seeing a little bit, but it's not quite as as noticeable. So again, straight up in the air, 244 pips. Again, we did come down, we did hit. It rallied all the way back up on that retracement, right? And is not only pushed over the top here, it is actually starting to threaten this top zone at the daily, which is interesting because look over here what we have on the daily, right? Besides this little peak where we're at right now, there's nothing until we get back up to 132.16, which is about 200 pips from where we are. So that is some crazy movement. And you can see here on the 4 hour as well, there's really not a whole lot. There's a little wick here and a little wick here, but that's basically, almost, that's up to the 132.00. So again, that's 150 pips higher to the top side. So there's some interesting play going on with this pair as well. Okay, now again, this is pound strength, yen weakness that is driving this pair higher. And again, I don't see anything, again, there's nothing in here that's leading me to believe that any of this is strong. I mean, I guess maybe, Johnson failing to trigger the early election, maybe people take that as a strong sign for the pound. Although that's kind of why he was put in, because they thought that, again, since he got kind of sworn in is when the pound really gained all the strength back. So it'd be kind of interesting that him failing to get that vote is what causing the pound to get stronger, when the pound got stronger because he was going in. So kind of conflicting messages there. I'm not really sure what's going on with that one. But if we look at this, guys, as well, what were we? We were in a downtrend setup. We had a green candle with a red trend line. We have obviously broken the anchor to the top side, okay, by a lot. Okay, we have blown through the top side of this anchor, which again is typically a trigger to go long if we can get some type of a pullback. Now, we do have just recently a confirmation, a green, red, green based off of a pullback. It may not be a bad area to go long into, but the one thing I am cautious about, as you guys can see, this dark line right now is in the very, very top peak, and there's actually a couple wicks just above here that price has been turned away last time. So what I'd probably look to do is if we extended this red line across that top side here, if we can push through, and actually let me put it on the actual wick top. There's the actual wick top right there. If we can pull above that one and then pull back, this could potentially be a momentum breakout to the top side, and we could use that to potentially continue this long higher, especially because we don't have anything up until here. I'll put a line out there for us to use it right there. Oh, not that one. Oh, no, cancel. Let's switch this one to green. Yeah, that was the right one. I was confused again. Confused it. Okay. Something along those lines. Look for a bit of a pullback. Use about 128. It's about 25 pip risk for about 128 if we can get the proper setup. Okay. What I'd be looking for. If we can get a nice little break above, retest, and then kind of shoot higher. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking for on that one. Let's go over to pound dollar. All right, so you guys can see we had a kind of failure to go higher. We do have a color change to the downside. Another one that we mentioned as well, again, this is the one that we talked about breaking. Now, you guys hear me mention Harry Potter all the time. Okay, what did we have in this case? We had a break above. Whoops. We had a break above. We had a pull back into the zone in the momentum breakout, and then we pushed higher. Okay, so again, this one actually had a zone to kind of break through. And again, we talked about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 4 was this red candle right here. This was attempt number 5. It broke through. It hit this small little tiny level that we had right here at top, right? Again, drove pretty deep, right? You guys can zoom in here. I'll zoom in for you guys. Look how deep this drove into like the top upper 90%. Okay. So what did price do? It came back and grabbed more orders. And what did it do? It came down, pushed down, pushed up, and continued to drive higher. So again, Harry Potter trade, right? Harry's is actually, yeah, Harry's is 1. Yeah, it's the same thing. So it's Harry upside down. Okay. Again, momentum breakout shot based off of 5, deep pierce into the zone. Okay. So that's kind of where we're standing. Now, we are approaching this upper level in the 4 hour. Okay. So this is definitely something that I am watching out for. Okay. Oops, not that. Duplicate. Look at this zone right here. Okay. Having this go, again, if I was long, still, I would have taken myself out. Why? Because we have a red, green, red to the downside. The trend is actually officially stopped at this point. So if you're in, get out. Okay. With that, we do have a bit of a pullback. If price goes any higher, we are going to start messing with this. We see descending wicks, right? We had wicks here, wicks lower here, wicks lower here. We do have red. We did have sideways movement. We had 2 down. We had basing, and then we had this explosion down to the downside. Now, again, that was its own trade to the downside, right? A retracement. Hit the profit target, and then it's grind lower and drop. So again, this level here, we did not get the retracement off of. Again, but it was one of those things. This is one of the ones that we didn't talk about. I didn't explain it enough, but we had the 5 touches, and that's what led us to leave this kind of push forward. So Again, this one had a lot of things to track. Is what it is, okay? But I am looking for this one to start turning and flipping. I would like us to kind of take over. I'd like it to get up into, again, I'm going to probably set an alert here. Probably going to change this to an alert, and I'm going to drop it a little bit lower. I want to be notified probably if we get a break above, okay? If we get a break above 122.63, I know we're starting to get up into that zone a little bit. And again, we didn't quite get there before we missed it. If we do have a push higher, I'm going to drop down, look for lower time frames, and potentially put on a index trade on this one to take it to the downside. We do have 2 days left, so again, you can look at dailies or weeklies. Going into tomorrow, okay, you're getting non-manufacturing, you're getting the employment change, you're getting crude oil. There's a lot of stuff that can happen tomorrow. Okay, so again, we get a bit higher, notification, selling in Nadix, go to the downside, out of the money. Okay, looking at pound New Zealand. All right, what do we run into on this one? Okay, you guys should be able to see it pretty easy. Extend this across, and again, that was done on the upper time frame. Okay, there's the pop. Again, if you took it off the 4-hour, you would have used that. If you made it smaller, you would have probably rose it up to there to make the risk a little bit smaller. You guys can see we touched it. Actually, we would have put it right there. Okay, the start of the big move. And again, you guys can see would have triggered, went to the downside. Profit target on this one, probably. I don't know if I would have put one here. I'm thinking. I didn't trade this one, just FYI. Again, this is a pair that I don't typically trade live, but there's probably target 1. There's probably target. Probably to be safe, yeah, I'd probably use the trigger line there. Probably do that. Probably target 1, target 2. And again, we're below target 1. Again, downtrend setup, right? Look on the daily. What do you have? Is there red engulfed? No. Okay. If you go across, you can see that we hit the top, so it is a downtrend. This green candle, this rally back up again, gave us a downtrend setup. Was there anything before this level? No. Okay, so it came up. There was your zone. We refined it a little bit over here. You guys can see that we had a failure to go higher. There was actually one trade here, but this is a valid zone based off the 4-hour. Again, using the daily and 4, the multiples of 6. Came across, hit, and went down. At this point, you would be in profit about 84. Okay, about 84 pips into this one already to the downside. Again, remember, this one definitely has the ability to move a lot. Right? ATR is currently 175, so quite a large ATR, right? But again, downtrend setup, dropped down to the 4-hour, it went up, it hit a zone. Again, it was a nice zone, it burst out of that zone. Refined it lower on your entry level, it hit, it dropped, you're 85 pips into this one. Okay. Again, I don't trade this one as often, but I don't necessarily look at it. It's not on my standard rotation, but the setup is exactly the same. It's no different. All right. Taking this to the downside. Looking at New Zealand. Let's see if there's anything that has mentioned the pound yet. No, not yet. All right. So New Zealand also has rallied back again. Okay. It's put in a pretty healthy, and we talked about this yesterday. It's kind of healthy move. It's red. It's green. It's red. I'm sorry. It's green. It's red. It's green. And again, this was really nothing. This was really nothing. This really wasn't much either, again, because it spiked up higher. That really our first kind of trigger level is going to be somewhere up into the 70, really the 70, what? I'm sorry, 64 area. We're only about 30 pips from that right now. And even on the 30-minute, I don't really see too much. This is a retest of this level here. I still think we're probably valid up here to get sucked back up into the 64 range if you guys are still in this one. Now, with that being said, what this is doing, though, is it is giving us good levels. It's getting rid of all this chop. And again, this is pretty healthy, right? Impulse correction, impulse base, pop, sideways, pop. Okay, so again, getting higher, getting closer to the top, but putting in nice levels to the downside. So if we can get any type of pulls, again, a few of these are in a row. This is a pretty healthy one here. You have a red with a single wick against the wall. I do like this one for something later, and even this base isn't bad. I mean, it popped in, went sideways, and nice pop out of it. So definitely putting in some cool levels. I like these. I want to see where it's going to turn. I think again, if we get back up into probably this region, let's see. Yeah, we're getting this, we're in the wick over wick area right now, but it's pretty ugly on the 4 hour. So I really just wanted to continue its path now because it's wiping out a whole bunch of junk. If we can get back up into this range, up in the 64, I would be looking to turn and flip this one. This is not an 8x pair, so this is purely a spot currency trade if you're going to set this one up. Looking at dollar Swiss. Okay. Now, dollar Swiss did not have the pullback. So this is what we were looking for that Harry Potter trade. We were talking about a basing level, and we really wanted to get confirmation below the zone. Unfortunately, this one just popped. It gave us a little bit of a base and ran all the way down to our profit target. So again, goes into the missed opportunity category. Again, we wanted the pull down, we wanted the retest, but it just dropped, based, and then continued to push lower. So unfortunately, mistrade. Okay, but we were able to, it did go to its profit target. It did turn at the profit target, and you guys can see, again, for picking profits, James, there was the start of the move. What did it do? It went just below, kind of went to the very, very bottom side of it. Like if I move this box, right, you guys can see it basically went to the very, very bottom. But we always want to be a little bit conservative. We always want to front run it slightly. And again, if you front run it to the gold line, okay, it did hit and it did run where it was going to go. So again, not a bad, oops. I don't know how I did that or what that was. Good setup. Target was good. We just did get the pullback for an entry on the 30-minute on that one. Okay. Again, this is kind of a breakout, but a riskier breakout if you would have taken it. But again, profit target was good. All right. Again, it's rallying crazy right now. Like I said, in the last hour, this thing has grown some legs. It's pushing back up again. Trying to see. Let's move these so we can get a clearer picture here. Let's see. How much room do we have? It's only about 12 pips. But you guys can see where this popped down. Yeah, this was a pretty nice movement down. It did base for about 3-4 hours, and then it kind of explosive movement out again. So that's where I'm going to be looking for some, if it's going to grab some more orders, it's most likely going to do it in that area. We are in an area right now, if you guys can see it. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but right in here, there is a wick over wick, but it's a very small wick on our side. It's more that wick behind the wall, okay, scenario. So looking more for it to come up here to grab orders. Obviously, we have a downtrend set up on the 4 hour. If you guys can't tell that this is a downtrend, I can't help you. But it's a downtrend with a green, which is a setup. And if I had to choose, I would say that this is that's probably the better area. Okay. For some type of entry. Okay, this is just, it's okay. But if it's so close, I would just go with the farther zone. I'd leave myself there. And again, your target would be back down to the bottom. Okay, which is talking about a 6 pip risk. You're talking about a 40 pip gain the other direction. So nice risk to reward ratio on that one as well. Look at dollar CAD. Let's see. Yeah, still nothing out. I want to know what the heck that. I was like hoping there was like a fight or something like that. Somebody got thrown out of Parliament or something. All right, so dollar CAD. A bunch of you guys were in this one today. This one literally just launched itself. Now we talked about this before. We talked about it coming up on the daily. We had this red kind of wick over wick here. Looking on the lower time frame, you guys can see that this one was able to trigger, right? It did hit and it kind of pushed back down again. And what we said was profit targets, again, would most likely be down in this blue area. If you go back, where is it? Here's the start of the move, right? We do it from the green. There was 2 green levels of a base, and that's where the first pop is. Here was also the last time it was down in this area. And again, it was 2 wicks, and we talked about that not being a huge problem. And what did price do? It came down, literally hit it, and is now stuck there. All right. So we are inside of a 4 hour level. Okay. And again, this was an exaggerated one off the daily. Right. I guess we took the whole thing as a target, but yeah, you guys can see it here. It was that level. Okay. So with that being said, we've obviously run out of steam. We've run out of movement. Basically, since 2 o'clock today, this one really hasn't moved. We've stayed inside of the same, what, 5 pip range on this one since about 12 till now. This one's going to need some news pops. Based off of how much this has dropped in one day, obviously I'm thinking somewhat of a racetrack here. Okay, we've fallen into an area where we've seen buyers in the past. We saw them here. This kind of candle screws it up as far as any more analysis to the downside. But we do know that we have a level here, and then if you look right below, erase this wick, we have another level right here. So there are definitely some buyers below where we are in price. Question is, what's going to help us move tomorrow? All right. Again, it is a dollar-based pair. Okay. There is some Canadian noise, but I don't think it's movable Canadian noise tomorrow. But crude oil inventories tomorrow, again, that has the ability. If crude oil is really amiss and it's going to send oil prices funky, that will also affect the dollar CAD. But I think the non-farm payroll numbers at 8:15 and then the ISM manufacturing are going to be a big deal. Now, earlier in the week, we did miss manufacturing numbers, so I do think that this is going to be a little bit interesting. But if there's something positive in either of these two, I think that can give us the catalyst, and I think that's why the market's starting to slow down right now. Is people are waiting to position themselves for those two news releases. Okay, now tomorrow and Friday we obviously have news for non or ADP news, so there's a lot of kind of there's a lot of powder being packed into this keg, right? Is for basically what I'm telling you. All right, but again, right now, if we remove this move, you guys can see this was an anchor break to the downside, right? If you remove the red, you look at the green. Is the green outside the red? Yes, it is. If you go back, you can see that we were an uptrend. And again, we were uptrend setup, right? But we were uptrend setup into a daily zone, in which case it would be looking for a reversal. It hit, and then anchor break, continued to push to the downside, went down and hit the 4-hour target like clockwork right here, okay? Now, again, if you wanted to be super conservative, you could have taken it up here. Okay, but again, because the two wicks were exactly the same, we weren't worried about it as much, and we went for the lower target. And that's what hit, and that's what's held. Okay, so that's where we're at right now, sitting in this level, looking for news. But again, I'm not opposed to playing a retracement to the top side on this one, especially with everything going on. If you can get something cheap before news comes out, take the shot. Go north on this one with a 2-hour. Okay, let's look at dollar yen. Come on, you can do it. You can load. Okay, dollar yen rallying up. Okay, had a good day today. This is a big day up. We were pulling back. We were in that uptrend setup, although it was kind of engulfed. It was kind of a funky position. But what we are sitting now in an area where we've seen price get pushed away a lot. Okay, it's made many attempts higher. Now, normally I would say, okay, well, it's hit 3, 4, 5 times. Expect some type of a failure. But in this case, here was the wick over wick, right? Here was a lower attempt. 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 So we're just starting to break there. What gives these lower attempts means that people are pushing this down and they're stacking sell orders in here. So in looking at this on a technical basis, I'm seeing a lot of supply above where we are right now in price. And again, it has pushed up. It has rallied. I'd be looking actually more at this point to try to figure out how to short this thing, just because I've seen so much supply up here already. And again, it's these lower highs, these lower spikes that is what I'm seeing. Now, price is in an area right now. Okay, and again, it is nighttime. We are seeing, again, that same spike over the last, 30 minutes. Let's see on the 10 if you can see the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing. Really since, 9:20 my time. This thing is really just pushed. Okay. I'd like to see somewhat of a confirmation here. How much movement we got in this one? It's about 30 pips in 30 minutes. That's a nice spike for this time of night. For a pair it's not even, their news is not even based off of this one. It's got to be this. It's got to be the China news that it's reacting to. That's the only thing that's based around that same exact time that's causing this pop. And again, that would be good for the U.S. market, obviously. Okay, but that's quite a big pop in a couple different pairs. Again, that would be great for the dollar. But anyway, back to the charts again. We are in this daily, this daily supply zone. I'm looking for any type of confirmation or sign on the lower time frames, particularly the 30-minute, that we are going to be in some type of reversal. And again, that's based off this daily zone here. This is a big drop, and again, pull back and then push down again, and it's been lower, lower high, lower high, lower high, and again, we're finally starting to get into those lower highs. Okay. Going across to CAD Swiss. Now, CAD Swiss, I would not play tomorrow for oil. I don't think it's going to be the best setup. Again, I prefer dollar CAD or CAD yen. Same pop. Where are we? We're right into a selling zone. Okay. Same situation that we saw before. Here's basing. There's the last time the price rocketed out of the area. You can see that's what we just rallied back up into right now. Obviously not a Nitix pair. It's a hybrid pair. But again, that's what we've seen. Okay. Would I take that short? Let's see. What are we talking about risk here? It's about 8 pips. What do we got back to the downside? It's about 20. Not the biggest fan of the downside targets on this one. Typically, I like something like this. This is an easy target, something like that. Something like that would be an easy one. This is kind of a little funky, but you still have to respect it. The wicks are ascending, right? This one is higher than this one. This one is higher than this one. So what it's saying is, I see a problem here, and I see a problem here. Okay, those are two little areas that I'd be cautious of. I don't know how to do that one, but there you go. Two little areas with ascending wicks that I'd be cautious about. And again, you can see this one is a base, so it's not as nice as the lower one. But again, you guys can see one push down, spike up, push down, went low, higher wick than the prior push down. So definitely some buyers stepping in there. Again, be a little cautious with this one. Going to CAD yen. Don't forget, guys, as I go into the last chart, make sure you do exclamation point ticket if you haven't already to get in the drawing tonight. All right, so CAD yen, obviously a big push, right? This one has been pretty much all day today, just going straight up in the air. Definitely a lot of CAD strength on this one, right? Pushing up yen weakness. What was this today? Let's check this one out. Again, there's no bottom wick, there's no top wick. It's 120 pips already. Okay, so again, I'm looking for an area to retrace into. Unfortunately, I think up in this area, I think this 8107, where we saw this last push here, it only briefly went into the zone. I think we're going to have to extend that across. I think that's going to have to be our zone for this one as well. Okay, that basing level. Now, it is a bit bigger of a zone. It is about 29 pips. Let's see if we can find it on here and shrink it a little bit. Yeah, we could shrink it a little bit. Oh, actually, I have to do it the other way. We could shrink it into that. Okay, and that's about 18 pips. Okay, it's a little bit better of an area, and it is also just above where this prior high was. So again, had you really refined it, you would have missed this by pipettes. And again, that would be kind of the short that we're looking for on this one. Okay, and that puts you at 81.22 to 81.40. So about 18 pip risk on that one. Taking this one to the downside. All right, and again, not a bad setup, right? It based large extended range candle. Okay, again, it wasn't necessarily news based, but again, looking for somewhat of a retracement. If it comes all the way up, what's stopping it, right? We got a little bit of an area here, which is down at 80.39. Okay, that's about what, 80 pips to the downside. Not too shabby. And again, we can potentially take this all the way down. So one profit target we'd be looking at is probably here. Right? There's one. And then here would be profit target number 2. Down here. Those would be the two that I'd be looking at based off that little area. Now, if we get any other level basing, then baby shark do. It's all about the baby sharks, right? But those would be the two profit targets that I'm looking at. Okay, like I said, 18 pip risk is not that big for this pair. Again, if we get a spike in this level, what would be great is if the oil news comes out and this thing spikes into this level, heck yeah, I'd be all over this thing. Okay, heck yeah, I would be all over it. And again, the news that would control that tomorrow would be probably these two, right? But obviously with the yen involved, all four of these are going to really matter. Okay, basically all that will matter tomorrow. Okay, because again, anything, the non-farm employment change, the ISM manufacturing are obviously going to affect the U.S. stock indices. Well, if the yen is involved, it's going to affect the yen as well. Okay, so again, good risk reward ratio on this one. Not a bad little setup. All right. So, guys, with that being said, that is it for tonight. Like I said, I still want to figure out what the heck led to that kind of 920 rally. The only thing I can think of is this news right here. Just the fact that the two sides agreed to hold another round of negotiations in DC. I think that'll be a big deal, particularly because it's mid-September. Let's see, they say it. No. Two sides agree to hold on next month, mid-September, in private meeting. Create favorable conditions for negotiations. Let's see, Chinese government bank vice chairman from. Yeah. So again, interesting timing, right? In October. Okay, lots of barbs going back and forth, and I've heard a couple different things, but that would be great. This would really send the market crazy, I think. So yeah, that's the only thing I can think that would move it this time of night that much on the pairs that it did. Okay, nothing else is screaming that that's the reason it moved. And again, there's no way to predict that, but that's hey, I'm happy with it. Like I said, that's the early October, which means you know what's coming at the end of October, right? That's the whole Brexit situation. So it looks like September is setting up for a great kind of pre-training for October's craziness this year. And I think October is going to just absolutely be wild if we have the end of the trade war and Brexit happening at the same exact time. Going to be nuts. So, all right, guys. With that being said, I'm going to bolt. I'm going to go grab baby and check on her. She came in to see me, and typically when she wants to see me, she's wants Dada, and the dog wants me. So obviously something's going on in the house. So I'm going to get rolling, guys. I will catch up with you guys tomorrow. Hopefully we can get a couple of these things to set up overnight. Last chance. Make sure you guys hit your ticket. Let's do that real fast. We have 8 entries in. James tried to sneak in at the very, very end. I'll give you guys another 30 seconds. When this says 108.45, I will shut it down. Silent. We got Silent in here. We got Wealth Builder. We got Shell Shocked in here. Who are we missing? Where is Ernest? Ernest, how come you haven't hashtagged it yet? I'm sorry. Not hashtagged. Exclamation point ticket. Oh, I'm going to give him. There he goes. Who did it take it? There you go. All right, good. You got it in right before the 09. If he wins, James is going to want a refund. James is going to be like, what? All right, the winner is Wealth Builder. All right, buddy. Wealth Builder got it. Let's give over here. Give him his 25. Whoops. Give him his 25. Bam, there you go, over 100. Okay, you were over there. Look at Will. Look at Will over here at 192, running away with things. And FX Jones, Ernest, and then my wife's account. So, Wealth Builder's like, finally! Ryan's like, salt! All right, guys, with that being said, I will catch you guys on Discord tomorrow. Same time tomorrow night. We're going to definitely have stuff to discuss tomorrow night. So I'm going to make sure that I have coffee. I don't yawn on you guys. Like I said, with non-farm oil stuff tomorrow and then non-farm on Friday, I think we have fireworks for the next 2 days. So I will see you guys tomorrow night and be rested. Take care, and I will catch you guys then.